For my Unit 2 paper, I chose to write about mental health of first-year college students because of its ongoing issue and how a solution needs to be found so students can enjoy themselves at college. The transition to the college lifestyle is a big change for any 18-year-old. Classes become much more difficult, parents are no longer there for assistance and guidance, and one must become much more responsible in order to be successful. All while trying to juggle a good sleep schedule and a social life, it's nearly impossible to enjoy every minute of it, as people say. When one of these things in life falls back, it can have a dramatic impact on someone's mental health. All of this raises one big question. What are these primary sources that are having such a negative impact on students as they head off to college? And how do we help our students feel successful? College, after all, isn't supposed to be the best time of your life, right? One of the biggest influences on the student's mental health condition is the use of social media. Social media has evolved into a place where followers, likes, and overall image is the most important thing rather than the intended purpose of having a social media account. Nowadays, I've seen that people are now able to buy followers, so their page seems to be more popular than it is. This doesn't help solve the issue with insecurity in students, it actually makes it worse, making students more antisocial. Other issues include how students are embarrassed to reach out for help as they feel they're alone on this issue. Another thing I've learned is how resources just aren't reaching out as much as they should be knowing of this ongoing issue, and how some of them have even turned against students who have reached out to them for help. There are many types of mental health conditions that affect college students. Perhaps the most common one is depression. Depression is an illness that can leave someone feeling helpless and isolated and can lead to other conditions as well. A study performed by the Association for University and College Counseling Center directors indicated that roughly 35% of college students experience depression and was the number one influence of why college students drop out. Another condition that students struggle to cope with is anxiety. Anxiety is another epidemic in a university setting that affects students every day. Everyone experiences some kind of anxiety, but this doesn't necessarily mean someone is diagnosed with the condition. Living with this illness consists of constant fear and stress that blocks their ability to carry out basic daily functions. This can be extremely difficult for college students to deal with, as the consistent schoolwork requires a focused attitude. Perhaps the most interesting condition among college students are eating disorders. I never expected to find this as a mental condition that affects college students. We hear that students that suffer from anorexia or binge eating, neither is a healthy lifestyle and affects their daily life. One disorder I learned about was bulimia. Bulimia is an eating disorder where a person binge eats and later throws it all up in fear of gaining weight. These disorders not only affect their eating habits, but also their mental and physical health. Students can be fearful of eating in public and become dehydrated. These disorders can also be life-threatening if not treated properly. With the world morphing into a society where your image is more important than your character, I am now able to see how a eating disorder can easily take over someone's life. The last main disorder that college students can suffer from is addiction. Drug and alcohol use has been common on many universities and can go from a social tradition to an addiction that can take over people's lifestyles. Addiction is a horrible thing that can turn someone's life down a bad path if not treated, and can eventually break apart families in the process. Perhaps the best strategy to cope with this problem is have campus resources set up search engines that alert them when students look up the mental condition or ways to overcome it on their own. Then immediately reach out to the individual, and which will show that there's compassion and that they can get through it together. Research shows that this issue has been going on for multiple decades, and little to nothing has been done. It's time for resources to reach out to those in need who feel helpless and alone.